claims that cryptocurrency is the tool of terrorists and criminals. We often speak of the immutable ledger and the public nature of the ledger and how that demonstrates transparency and accountability. The refrain of just look at the ledger, it's all there for the public to see, it goes both ways. So as much as that is a positive attribute of the blockchain technology, policymakers, regulators, and lawmakers all expect businesses to take advantage of this feature in meeting their compliance obligations. So the Stellar protocol provides the built-in functionality to conduct the appropriate compliance checks. The burden of actually performing those checks falls to the businesses building on Stellar. And this is no small feat. With public immutable ledgers, the amount of information available about a prior transaction of a particular address can be quite extensive. On the blockchain, anyone can have multiple wallets. Wallets can have multiple addresses. Transactions can be traced. Addresses can be used on multiple platforms. Wallets can be associated with a particular jurisdiction that may or may not be subject to sanctions. And all of that information can be determined without even knowing who the individual is, not having any personal information about who's behind those wallets or transactions. It's just that the connections that you can see on the network and on the ledger can be very informative in making risk assessments. And compliance teams are expected to analyze all of this in making those risk assessments. So companies like Elliptic have built tools that help detangle that web of publicly available information. Their AML compliance software and forensic and investigative services help to identify suspicious wallets and transactions so businesses can have the benefit of this information to assess risk. So recognizing the Stellar ecosystem's need for access to these enhanced tools, we partnered with Elliptic and integrated their compliance tools with the Stellar network for Lumens. And this integration, while it is currently for Lumens, it allows for rapid integration with their platform of other Stellar-based assets. So businesses that want to add these tools for other assets will benefit from this integration that Elliptic and SDF has already performed. And Elliptic is a preferred partner. They're the first and their only service of this kind that's integrated with the network. Now, use of their service is certainly not mandatory. After all, as I mentioned a few times, Stellar is an open source network. And so it is simply another tool that businesses can take advantage of to manage risk if they choose to use it. For the industry to mature and overcome the skepticism that regulators and lawmakers have developed, we all need to address the risk of bad actors taking advantage of the attributes of blockchain technology that help them to hide their illicit activity. The public ledger gives us that ability, but businesses need tools like those that Elliptic has developed to do that effectively and efficiently. So these compliance tools, we believe, are really critical to helping to pave the way to greater adoption of blockchain technology and digital currencies like CBDCs and stablecoins. At this point, I'll turn it over to Andrea to share more about Elliptic's services and what they bring to the Stellar network.
Thank you. Thank you, Cannons. Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning. I'm Andrea Molino. I'm Vice President for Products at Elliptic, which means that I'm responsible for the short-term execution of our projects, but also the long-term strategy for our product offering across all the offerings within Elliptic. I'm extremely glad to be here today because I have been close to this partnership with Stellar since the very beginning. So it's really nice to see that we went through this and finally we launched it and we can elaborate on the partnership. So extremely nice. I can elaborate a little bit more about Elliptic, and for the one of you that don't know enough about our company and what services we provide, so I'll try to explain a bit where we come from, what we do, and then eventually dig a bit more what that means in practical terms for you and what are the benefits of this partnership. At Elliptic, what we stand for is that we provide crypto assets risk information to our customers. This means that we understand the blockchain industry, we understand the technology that is behind a blockchain, we can analyze the data and derive insights. And then our customer can use those insights to manage risk associated to crypto, and therefore making sure that they can provide trusted and safe services to their own customers. When I say about our customers, I'm talking about the crypto businesses. So we focus on helping exchanges, custodians, token issuers, brokers, or even financial institutions that are now looking into the crypto space and trying to understand how we can play into that space. Unlike some other organizations into our field, we do not focus on law enforcement, but 100% of our development resources and roadmap is focused on building solutions that help our crypto businesses or our customer to have a safe use of their services, provide safe use, and prevent illicit activity within the crypto space. And this is because our mission is very much aligned with the Stellar one, which is we believe in an open and financial system powered by crypto assets, and we are here to help you to make it happen by providing safe services. If you can go to the next slides, Lauren, I can give you a little bit more, thank you very much. I can give you a little more information about the services we provide. So we have been the first organization in the industry to provide risk scoring for crypto assets. The concept of risk scoring is something that was already mainstream into the traditional financial sector. But when the company was built back in 2013, we've been the first one to derive a way to use crypto risk scoring within the crypto space. This is the backbone of what we do. So risk scoring is embedding all the software and tools that we provide, and across the Elliptic suite, what is more relevant for this partnership is the navigator tool, which is a transaction screening tool, and the lens tool, which is a wallet screening tool. But clearly, you cannot really provide meaningful risk scoring if you don't have a good data set that you can score, you can derive the scoring from. So in the industry, we're typically considered the provider of the best and more accurate data set. This means that we have an in-house team of data researchers and data scientists, and what they do, they can analyze the blockchain across a number of assets, use our proprietary algorithm methodology to derive insights, and also have a very high bar for quality before we add any insights into our own database. But I care to say this is nothing to do with like surveillance, etc. Because as I said before, our job is to help crypto businesses like exchanges and so forth to provide safe service and therefore prevent illicit use of crypto. So we don't go to providing any PII information or that kind of stuff. And also another important point about how we manage data. We take a very strict and professional view about how we manage our customers' data. So when an exchange, for example, screens transaction with us on Checker Wallet, we don't use those information to enrich our database. We do not resell those data that we use. All the data are actually based on our own analysis. By being so professional in the way that managing data from our customers as well, we have earned the trust of more than 100 crypto businesses around the globe. As I said, there are like exchanges, custodians, token issuers, etc. And they are both small and large, which means that we can help the small ones to get started with tools that help them to be compliant, but also we can help the most sophisticated one, the one that got more stringent requirements. And by focusing all our efforts in helping crypto businesses, then we can fulfill the requirements of the most sophisticated customers. Also, we're backed by very large financial institutions, which is a good sign for us that the work we're doing on the compliance space is actually going in the right direction and is in line with the best practices also being seen in the traditional financial sector. All of this help us to build a global company. So we are now, we have offices in 4 different locations, so London, New York, Singapore, and Tokyo, which means that we have on-field supports and across all those locations that can give us, we can enable support to customers across clearly different time zone and different languages, and they help us to stay closer to the customer needs. As I said, I'm very excited about this partnership because when you do a partnership with a company, you have to look at the value that you share, you have to look at the mission, whether we're going in the right direction. And as Candace mentioned before, also the mission of the Stellar Foundation is pretty much in line with the Elliptic one. So we're all for enabling technology, using technology to enable an open financial system. And clearly the Stellar Foundation comes from the angle of building this fantastic network, while we come from the angle of building the tools that enable the network, or who uses the network, and the businesses to provide the safe services. And more in practical terms, just to give you a highlight, this means that by supporting the Stellar blockchain, we can now screen Lumen's transactions within our Navigator tool, or Lumen's wallet with our Lens tools. But this is even more than that, because by having done the groundwork in terms of technology